Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Youth and Women Platform. And this is your host, Sister Zinat. So what is the purpose of this program? The purpose is we talk about the problems and the solutions of youth as well as women, and we even talk about the solutions. So today with me I have a very interesting guest from United States, from America. She's even a scholar. Alima Mariam Muaddal. She was raised in America. She did her bachelor's in accounting in California, and then she had the passion to study Islam. So she went to Iran, to study Islamic sciences. She is doing at present master's in philosophy in Islam. Assalamu alaikum, sister. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. How are you? Alhamdulillah, I'm good.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. We're very excited to have you here, sister.
I'm pleased to be with you.
So today's topic, we're going to talk about depression, which is like a huge issue in the world, whether you talk about youth or women or men, people go through depression, they don't even know about it, and definitely they don't know the solution for the depression. So why is it so important for us to discuss about depression?
Well, first I want to say salam to our viewers. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Inshallah, I hope everyone's doing well. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. So to go back to the point, our topic is depression today, and it's one of the most common mental disorders right now that we have in the world. I'm going to quote a few stats from the HWO or WHO organization that they have on their website.
Or WHO.
WHO,
okay.
Yeah. So they're quoting that 2,064 million people suffer from all ages suffer with depression. Which is a huge number. Yeah, that's huge.
Yes.
It's one of the leading causes of disability worldwide. It's one of, in terms of stats, more women are affected by it than men are.
Wow, really?
Yeah, especially postpartum is a huge thing. Most of my friends, actually all of my friends, I don't think I have any friend that hasn't been through it. When you talk to women, maybe if you ask them directly, usually they won't say that, oh, I've been through postpartum. But if you start, asking, well, did you have this symptom? Did you have that symptom?
Yeah.
They start like, yeah, I did
People
have that.
are very hesitant to talk about depression, right?
Yeah.
When you talk about postpartum, what do you really mean?
So
That's after pregnancy?
So postpartum means it's a depression that happens usually after you have a baby.
Yes.
So
yes.
that's usually what postpartum means.
Yes, but doctors usually tell you about it, that when you go to a doctor, they say you may be affected with the postpartum depression because of the blood that flows and all the symptoms, anemic you get, the lack of iron. So, take care of yourself and everything. They do talk about it.
I mean, I hope so. I've never had the experience, so I hope that they do.
I really have the experience of that.
And your doctor told you about it?
Yeah, the doctor, when you go for pregnancies, during pregnancy, you go there, they tell you, look, this is pregnancy time.
Mm-hmm.
You may be going through depression and you don't know about it because a woman gets very emotional, very sensitive. And for small reasons, she may get cranky, she may get cracked out, and she becomes different after pregnancy.
Yeah.
But postpartum depression does exist, and every woman should know about it. During pregnancy, after pregnancy, 2 years after pregnancy, you go through that because you're feeding the baby, you're recovering, your bones are too, still it's weak, you're recovering. It takes 2 years.
Your hormones are out of balance.
Totally out of balance.
It's definitely, I think nursing also affects you because there's so much nutrition that's been taken away from you to go to the baby. So I'm sure all of these things have an effect.
Everything.
And obviously your sleep is out of whack because of the baby.
You have no control. No, you can't even sleep. So you are in this depression, and every woman should accept that. Okay, what is the solution of the problem? That's very important, definitely. So first, the woman has to know what is postpartum depression. That's why I started with this.
Yeah. And I also think it's important for men to understand it, just because if their wives, at least for the husband to be able to recognize it, so that they can help out. I actually had I was with one of my friends, and she and her husband were dropping me off at home, and she was pregnant, and I felt like she had it. She was a bit depressed, and I was trying to indirectly tell her, like, I think you're not feeling well. You need to take care of yourself. And she wasn't understanding what I was trying to say, because I was trying to be indirect. I didn't want it to offend her. And what I ended up doing, she didn't understand what I was trying to say. So I ended up being direct.
Yeah.
And I told her, like, look, like, I think you have depression. Please take care of yourself. And then I told her husband, I was like, please, like, she's pregnant. And I kind of scared them off a little bit to make them realize, like, hey, like, this is serious. Like, unfortunately, there's cases of women killing their babies because of postpartum.
Cases,
yeah, extreme cases like that. And I was like, there's cases like that. And so you should really take it seriously. And I was like, please, like, take care of your wife and watch out for her so that the baby can come and she can be in good health and the baby can be in good health.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to bring a awareness to this problem.
Yes.
And so we can first break the stigma and address it and
Yes.
heal it. So we really need to bring this issue more this topic more in our communities.
We should, because depression is nothing wrong. It is very natural, right?
It's a natural process.
Look,
Yeah.
everything is nutrition. When a pregnant woman, a baby is utilizing everything. When she's going lack in protein or minerals and she doesn't knows what's going on with the body, because the way we eat food is actually unhealthy. I would really say that most of us, the junk food is all unhealthy. The fried food is unhealthy. We need to be very cautious about what we are taking. But yes, during pregnancy and after that, a woman goes to depression, and a man should keep a lot of patience and tolerance in handling the wife. Because she is the woman, right? She's going through, and they both should be together. Usually in the cases during breastfeeding, there have been cases that woman and man, husband and wife, they have started to fight. Why are they fighting? Because of a lack of sleep, lack of nutrition, lack of protein. She's cranky. That's why and he's losing the patience because he's also tired. So, both of them, husband and wife, whoever is watching this show, please do understand this kind of situation, help each other.
Yeah. I also think that one of the bigger problem is that in general, spouses, like the husband and children are meant to be raised within a village. Like, there's a saying that says it takes a village to raise a child, and really that is the case. Like, it's a 24-hour job, and so to expect that the wife, or even just the husband and the wife, to raise the child by themselves is asking too much. You really need to step in as a community to help them out. I really believe that women need more resources and getting help to raise their children, and also just couples in general. I think that we really need to focus on it, and how can we support them more, and so that they can get through, especially the beginning phase of a child's life. The first 2 years is really difficult. It's a huge strain on the mother, especially because she's the one usually nursing, if she does choose to nurse. So it's really important. Hopefully we can
Yes,
discuss.
because nowadays we have a system of independent life. Everyone is living all by themselves.
Yeah.
When compared to the older life, they were joint families. They had their aunts, and they had their sister-in-laws and helping them. They had help with cooking. They have help with earning money. They have help with even raising a kid, because the kid used to be raised in many hands. But nowadays the kids are being raised with one hand, mother or the father. They both are together, and it's really hard on them.
Yeah.
Just because your health is pressurized, what happens is that it gets affected on your, the people should check up. They are anemic. There's a lack of iron. Yes, you have to really go through a lot of good health diet and think about the life is that 1-2 years when a lady does not really know how to raise a kid, so many things are happening. She is the baby's teething, the baby wants to walk, so they have to run to the doctor. It's so much stressful, because I'm a mother of 2. I'm very well aware of that, the challenge that we have been through all by ourselves in America, where we really had no help, and everyone is busy in their own life. So yes, the first help we should get is from community. Community means go to a counselor. Go to anyone, or maybe in the mosque centers, arrange for a counselor.
Not just that, also just people babysitting your children. I try to help out my friends by babysitting them every once in a while. I literally would babysit once a week one of my friend's kids, and just to give her a break, do whatever she needs to do
Yes.
and like let her like breathe for a sec.
Yeah.
And I honestly really enjoyed it. So I feel like we need to be more involved in each other's lives.
Yeah.
It's the Islamic way to be there for each other.
Very good point, because when the hadith says, if Allah would have maybe made it mandatory to give the property even to the neighbors, but it is not. You don't have to give your property to the neighbors, the will, it's for your own kids. But the importance of neighbors and the community Allah has meant, go out. That means Allah is saying, go out and help people.
Yeah.
Right? In this kind of a situation, when it comes to a young woman giving birth to babies, and there are so many people, we are so much busy in their lives, If we think a little bit on it, go out and help each other, because she really needs to go out and relax in an environment and become fresh, and after that she's changed.
Yeah.
Definitely, that's true.
Yeah, it'll definitely affect the children in a positive way if she gets that break for like to
Yeah.
exercise or just do whatever she needs to get done that she doesn't usually have time for, and I think it's really important. But continue with this discussion. It's not just for women either that this is a depression is a huge issue. It's also within youth and youngsters. So according to whose website, it says they say that suicide is the second leading cause of deaths from 15 to 29 years old.
Wow.
Which is tragic. Like,
that is.
I mean, it's very scary. It's just a horrible thing. So when I was teaching at a school, I remember I was just discussing about the Day of Judgment, and I was teaching a group of 3rd and 4th graders, and I was telling them how, like, on the Day of Judgment, certain people go to heaven, certain people go to hell, and one of the students turned around and said, if someone kills themselves, will they go to hell? And I was shocked. I didn't expect them to, out of all, like, this age group, to ask about this. And then another student followed up, what if life is too difficult for them? And I was so shocked. I didn't even know how to respond to that. Because, like, regardless, first of all, I'm not Allah's representative to know what will Allah do with them. And second of all, like, even if you say, yes, they will go to hell, then they'll lose hope. Yeah. And if you tell them, no, they won't go to hell, then God forbid, they might try to do it. And it's like, either way you respond to that answer, you try to answer that question is just, there's just no easy way to respond to it. And I was just shocked, and I never thought that this is a problem within youth. And these are children. They were like 9-10 years old.
Wow.
And that's
too young.
It's too young.
Because it's so common when you said the youth of age 15 to 29, that's very young. Almost the age that they have completed the degrees, they started going for job. It's still life full of fun and beauty. Yeah. And they're talking about, like, majority of the youth are committing suicide of that age. That's a big trauma.
It is a huge thing, and unfortunately, the communities that I've visited, they all had that. They all had, like, unfortunately, depression within them.
Depression leads to suicide. So the moment people are depressed, they need help. We should help each other, whether we are counseling, talking. I think that the main point is that everyone is going through some or the other problem. Help with the solution of the problem. Whatever the problem is, try to help the person to come out of it. Talking just doesn't help. It's more than that. Be part of that life, because nowadays it's like people are lonely. Yeah. Loneliness is the biggest problem, and the stress that we get.
Stress, anxiety, all of these things have an effect. Also, like in the stats that they have given out, is that between 76 and 85% of people of low income and middle income countries receive no treatment for their disorder, for their depression. And a lot of times there's a lack of resources, there's a lack of trained health care providers, there's a social stigma associated with mental health disorders in general. And so these are all barriers in helping, someone who's depressed.
First of all, the thing is that people, first of all, they have to understand the meaning of depression.
Yeah.
If the person is going through something, that means, yes, the person is depressed, right? Yeah. You have to accept it. So if you are accepting the fact, like, someone is out there, first of all, there is an embarrassment. Oh my God, I'm not going to tell the people that I'm depressed. Okay, if you're a man, there's a lot of ego that how can I tell anyone that I'm depressed because you're a man? It has to do nothing, you're a man or a woman or you're youth. It's very natural. you are in problems because of that. You're going through a lot of, people are not going to think you're weak. You have to go out and help yourself, I mean, to a counselor, to someone that can help. And this is for everyone. Please don't sit in the house suffocating, exhausting yourself, handle this problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I want to discuss the signs of depression. So, and by all means, I'm not a specialist on the topic, but these are things that I've looked up in terms of depression, and hopefully we can also discuss the role of religion that plays into depression. So the signs of depression, according to the AP, is one is just feeling sad, having a depressed mood. It could be loss of interest of the things, the activities that you once enjoyed. You lose interest in that.
Yeah.
It could be change of appetite. Sometimes some people eat more and some people just eat less. So you might lose a lot of weight or you might gain a lot of weight. It could be either or.
Just go out and eat a lot of sugar.
Some people do, that's their reaction to depression, and some people it's the opposite. They just don't want to eat.
Don't want to eat.
So it's just, it could be any of these. It could be trouble sleeping at night or sleeping too much.
Too much, yeah.
So it could be both ways. It could be loss of energy and feeling just fatigued during the day.
Yeah.
It could also be just doing purposeless physical activity. It could be just like, sometimes people scribble or things like that. If you're doing it too much, it could be a sign of depression. Slowed movements in speech, feeling worthless or guilty. Sometimes we do
We
that.
will come back to you with the explanation of depression. Right now, we will be back after a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back after a short break. So we were talking about the signs of depression, and Sister Alema Maria Muadal, she said that the sign of depression is maybe you eat a lot or maybe you eat less, sleep a lot or less, or you are scribbling or doing something, which is like out of task, or you are basically, there is more to it, right, Sister?
Yes. There's also, might feel guilty. It could be also you have a hard time concentrating.
Yes.
Or you might have a hard time making decisions.
Yes.
It could be you might have a hard time getting up from bed in the morning.
Yes.
That could be a possibility.
You just don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
You just want to be idle.
Yeah. And it could be that you have thoughts of suicide, and that's usually in the worst case scenario.
Okay.
God forbid. And I mean, if it gets really bad, I mean, you might hurt yourself or do something.
Yeah, hurting yourself.
I think those are the worst cases.
The worst cases is the suicide one,
suicide, yeah.
Because other cases are very light and very casual. I would say when I was a youth, when I was a teenager, I exactly did not know that time, but I had the signs of depression. Like I lost my interest, I lost my concentration, I was forgetting things, and the sleeping, eating was not much. I never felt suicidal, not at all, thankfully, but it was the feeling of sadness, and I used to think, why am I so sad? Because the world is so competitive, in the education world, I would say, because that is the time of teenagers, is the education world, and you start comparing yourself with everyone. Maybe you compare with someone who was best in education, who is doing very good, and then you want to reach something and you couldn't do it in your life, and then you're like impatient in nature. I would say you're impatient in nature, and then you're upset that why I can't do it, but the other people are doing it. I could be better. Yeah. Because of that reason, you're so much angry. You don't discuss all these angerness with everyone. You keep it in your heart, which is wrong. And then that changes into depression, and you're sad. And you look at happy people and say, why is this person happy and why are you so sad? And it takes time for you to come out, and the anger stays inside. That anger should not stay inside. Thankfully, my anger ended and I came out of it, but many people can't come out of it, right? They're always angry, maybe they start doing negative things, bullying other people, hurting themselves, coming out of many things, the points that you were saying, that's very true. If the people have these signs that you know that you're depressed, so please work on yourself, go to a counselor, talk to someone, try to have solution for the problems.
There's just also other things that can come up, like anxiety can also be accompanied with depression. Hyperventilation.
What is that?
Hyperventilation is when a person is breathing very, very fast. So the person isn't inhaling enough dioxide or carbon. And so what happens is they start breathing very, very fast. And I know of people who've experienced that, and it's unfortunate. So it could be that. Also, panic attacks. So panic attacks is when a person, the symptoms is basically you think that you're dying.
Oh, wow.
You feel like you're dying. And it's a very real thing. And I think sometimes when the first time people are experiencing these type of things, and people around them don't know what it is, sometimes they think, oh, they're faking it, or they're just trying to gain
They think
attention.
that, oh, you're nothing, you're melodrama, you're drama queen. Yeah.
Sometimes that's a possibility, and unfortunately, it's because they don't know. Like, when a person's going through something like this, it's really real to them, and they're not okay. When someone has a cold or is sick, you don't become mean to them and be like, oh, like, you're just trying to get attention by having a cold. Pretend.
So take it seriously.
Take it seriously. I really think for people around them, it's not just important for the person themselves to understand what they're going through, but also the people around them need to understand, well, this person is having, let's say, a panic attack, or they're having they're hyperventilating, or they're depressed, or they have anxiety, whatever the case scenario might be. It's important for other people to recognize that and realize, no, this is real, and they need help, and we need to try to be there for that person.
Yes.
And try to get information and try to help them as the best way they can. And so it's really important to know exactly what you're dealing with. And sometimes a person might be going through hyperventilation, and if another person doesn't know what it is, they may say, oh, you're having a panic attack, when they're not. So also understanding exactly what you have, identifying what you have, and you can do that with the help of a doctor or a psychiatrist. Define what do I have and what else can I do if I need
Here's
it.
the problem with the people is say that, oh, I'm not crazy. Why do I go to a psychologist, or why do I go to a counselor? And this is nothing wrong, because the person has expertise in that field to know why exactly you're going through these, and then you can, just by talking, maybe you can come out of it, because the person doesn't know the person has some issues, right? Like you talking about the person has a panic attack or anxiety attack, the person doesn't know. Maybe other person may think the person is acting. It's like a drama queen, which is not true. Another thing is that when you said is that I've heard about these things, about this lady who had this all of a sudden C-section. She was going to go for normal delivery, ended up in C-section, had a lot of bleeding coming out, and then she was depressed. After that, she used to say that, oh, I'm going to die, I feel like that, but she was not suicidal. The thing is that
She was probably having a panic attack.
have a panic attack, and she couldn't understand why she's going, because she has lost so much of blood. The body needed those things, and then she has no sleep because of the baby, feeding the baby, so many things going on. So many things goes on from your husband's side. They job, they stress, sometimes they come home and fight. And this is not right, because the husband also has to understand these 3 years, please be calm with your wife and give her a lot of love, and because she will go through. Every woman goes through that depression, depressing state. Even the women who are thinking, oh, I had a beautiful pregnancy, I had a beautiful delivery, I had no issues. Even that woman goes through that kind of stages, because a woman goes a lot of up and down. Only Allah can understand that, because even a hadith says that on the day of judgment, there are many sins of a woman which is not going to be counted, because Allah understands that situation that people don't understand. People think maybe that's a sin. I'm not saying I was not a sin, but it is actually not a sin. Allah says, according to that situation, she was behaving that way, maybe a little crazy, I don't know. So we have to have understanding of this point. What you said, that ladies, if you are really going through this kind of problem, youth especially, please consult someone, please talk to someone. It's very beautiful if you talk, you can come out of it.
Yeah, and I think it's also really important to recognize that you're not alone in this. There's so many people who deal with this problem.
So many, yes.
Maybe people don't talk. Maybe unfortunately, there's a stigma that we don't like to discuss this. But just because someone's Instagram looks really pretty, it doesn't mean that
their
they're
life
not.
is pretty.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that they're not going through hardships. And Allah always gives each and every person difficulties.
Yes.
This is a promise of Allah that each person will deal with certain
To
hardships.
test them.
Yeah, to test them, and it's part of life. This life is not meant to be easy. It's not.
It's supposed to be
built.
difficult,
It will be
challenging.
difficult at certain points, and that's the way the world has been built. And so, if you are struggling, know that hey, there's a bunch of other people struggling out there. Maybe they don't talk, but they do exist.
Yes.
And that's what specifically I found out. So several years ago, my brother passed away. And
Really?
yeah, my
Oh
brother
God,
passed away,
so
and it was
sad.
at the time when I was teaching at a school. And
So
after my
hard.
brother passed away, and so I asked whoever of the kids like from the school, like, please bring them to the burial. I wanted them to see it. And I remember after that, a lot of my students came to me and opened up to me about the problems that they were having. And it would really break my heart every single time one of them would come and tell me. And it would sadden me that I couldn't there was only so much I could do to help them. I remember there was this one girl, her mother had MS, and she was struggling. It's really difficult to see a loved one and having a problem like that, and she was struggling with dealing with that and the emotions associated with that. There was another girl who had I could clearly tell she had depression. I think she had also anemia. There was just so many of the students who had these, and I also had people in the community coming up and telling me, like, people who were divorced telling me about their divorces and how it went through.
Yeah.
And all of them struggled with, some of them struggled with anxiety, some of them struggled with depression, just coping with it. And it was eye-opening because before that, I never realized like how everyone is struggling with one thing or another, because people usually don't come up to you and tell them about your problems, and they
No.
don't. But something like this happened in my life, and then other people felt like, okay, I can relate to this person, and because this person's gone through a death in the family,
Yes.
so they can understand. And it was eye-opening. I mean, alhamdulillah, I feel blessed that people felt so comfortable with me to be able to open up and
Yes.
share their experience with me. And I tried to help as much as I really could. And I remember at night, sometimes I would go home and I would cry because I was like, oh Allah, like I can't help them more than this. Like there's only so much I could do. So my heart really does go out for those people who are struggling with, the mothers that are struggling with postpartum, the children who are just struggling with depression or anxiety or any of these symptoms. Like inshallah, like Allah protect everyone and give all of us good health and mental health.
Because the Quran says, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran that I test you in accordance to your tolerance level. That means we have the tolerance to pass that test,
Inshallah.
But because we are impatient and restless in nature as a human being, we don't realize those things. If we are facing with any problems, that means we have that tolerance level. So we can do it, right?
Yeah,
All
inshallah.
youth, all women, yes, you can do it, because
Inshallah.
people in the past have also dealt with it. People are dealing with it, and people in future will deal with it.
Yeah. Okay, so the next issue that we want to discuss is why is depression such a problem in today's day and age?
Is there a difference between before and today?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think lifestyle has definitely changed.
Yes, that's true.
Lifestyle has definitely changed in terms of our eating habits. We're not eating as healthy as we used to.
Yes.
We're eating more processed food. Our food is not organic for sure. Most of our food is not organic anymore, right? You have to go out of your way to purchase organic food.
Definitely not. That's true.
There's pesticides in our food. That God knows what type of toxic ingredients is in regular food. Also, like our cleaning products, our makeup products, our hygiene products.
All chemicals.
They're all chemicals. Like this stuff didn't used to exist back in the day, right? The farming was different. Architecture was different. So definitely in terms of the materials that we're using, the food that we're
There was no chemical sprayed on the vegetables and fruits. The farmers never did that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, because of the populations and increase in the population and the competition, so they have to spray it out. Because they have to spray, it's all like how we have to wash the vegetables is different.
Yeah. So definitely, like, the stuff, the things that we're consuming, let me put that way, as well as also like we don't get as much sunlight. We used to be outdoors more, right?
Yes.
We're indoors constantly. We're, because of school, because of work, the amount of anxiety that we have when it comes down to deadlines for work or for school,
The stress.
it's so much.
And we're always living in a small, like most of the people live in a small apartments, you know, which is
Yeah.
not exposing with the sun.
Definitely.
We don't have this backyard or front yard where we can go easily sit down. The people of the olden days used
Yeah.
to do that before, right?
Yeah.
And the stress you're talking about, even kids go to depression. And the stress they have because of the marks, because of the system, education system.
Yeah.
You know, definitely. And the teenager stress is so much that, you know, there's an estimation, I don't know how many, but so many youth are committing suicide because of the stress of the education on them.
It's a tragedy.
It is a big tragedy because they even have a pressure from the parents. The parents keep comparing, look at you and look at that person, shame on you, you got a C, you got an A, and putting that person's self-esteem of the person down, which is totally wrong. I don't support that. And definitely the youth is going through a lot of issues because youth have a lot of competition within that age. We will discuss all these issues in detail in the next episode because we were discussing about the depression. We will go on the youth and talk about the youth problem. So thank you so much, sister, for speaking out today with all your experiences. Thank you so much, sister.
Oh, thank you for having me, inshallah.
Thank you so much. So, dear youth and women, please stay tuned. We will be talking about the depressions and the problems and solutions for youth, women, and also men. Thank you so much. Stay tuned. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.